It does not matter where you are. You, the way that you choose to utilize your mind, is what is going to determine your state of mental health. So I just want to breathe life into that and speak that and make that abundantly clear with everyone, although this is all about how living in the jungle for the past 6 months has changed my state of mental health. The first thing that I could say is that it is a lot less effort to receive the energy from the earth. And the surge of energy in the atmosphere is so rich, it's so beautiful, it's so vitalizing that I can simply exist here and not for a second feel like I have to go into nature, right? And that in of itself is a mental construct, like, let's go into nature, as if we aren't a living embodiment of this. But that does not change the fact that inner cities or areas where the atmosphere has been compromised, the quality of the atmosphere, the quality of the nature that surrounds has been compromised, and the fact that that reality affects our physical being. So I can say confidently that the quality of this environment is so pristine, so beautiful, so vitalizing that it requires a lot less effort of me to receive that in the ways that I was when I was living in North Carolina, when I was living in Oregon, when I was living in California, when I was living in all of these different states and places in my life. Those are the places that I spent significant amount of time, right? And that's not to say that those places aren't beautiful or rich, although the preservation, the care that goes into this jungle is superior. Because of that, it makes my life easier, being that I have prioritized over the years being in environments that allow me to be immersed in oxygen-rich environments. The sad reality of it is that a lot of people take advantage of this gift, and a lot of people fail to recognize the value of this gift and do not prioritize being in environments that are biologically in alignment, or perhaps put themselves in environments such as these and don't invest any care or energy into preserving it and caring for it in the way that it deserves to be cared for. By design, it doesn't need preservation. By design, it's supposed to thrive on its own without any effort. But that is not the reality of the world that we live in. The world that we live in is an extractive world that makes it difficult in most places for us to actually feel the level of vitality that has allotted me an even more elevated state of mental health since I've been here. So if you ever feel inwardly called to go to a different part of the globe, do not allow anything to get in the way of that calling. Do not allow anything to get in the way of that calling that you feel, whether it be for yourself or your family. It doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, but like I said in the beginning of the video, it does not matter where you are in the world. Your mind, the way that you utilize your mind, the choices that you make, the words that you speak, the beliefs that you have, are going to be the determining factor as far as how you experience your mental health. And when there's congruency between what your heart is actually calling for and what you're aiming towards, what actions you're taking to experience that, whether it be for you or for your family, there is more alignment to mental health. So you must take those steps, and you must believe in yourself in order to take those steps with conviction. Take those steps knowing that you have a definite plan, that you're putting forth the effort, that you're taking those actions. So yes, it is as though when I wake up from rest, I feel so revitalized. I feel as though I was sleeping on the ground, even though I'm elevated in this place. Even though, I'm my bed. Ew, I just touched poop. See, but we're cool with it. It's okay that we just touch a little iguana poopy. But anyways, so I feel when I wake up as though I was just sleeping on the ground. I feel vitalized. But before I moved here, I was living in North Carolina for about 7 months. And in that time, it was like I felt so disconnected from this feeling of vital energy surging and feeding me. You don't need to be constantly eating to receive nutrients. And a lot of our nutrients is coming from the way that we are breathing and the way that we are intaking our environment. So that is just one of the ways in which living here has actually served me and my state of mental wellness. Another way that it has served my mental health is there is a shift in priority when you change environments. So there are certain things that matter to you when you're in one environment versus when you are in another. So in one environment, I'm thinking, okay, today is going to be extremely smoky, and there's going to be potential that I might have to evacuate. There's going to be potential that it will be difficult to get water. There is potential that people will not be in a healthy state of mind because they're inhaling smoke. Whereas here, I don't have that thought. I am not prioritizing shifting around the reality of wildfire season, which is something that I lived through for probably like more than 3-4 years, maybe even 5-6 years, right? So you could imagine when you're not expending your energy considering what you must prioritize during a season where there's lots of wildfires, you can think more clearly. Now, I do not believe that we should just ignore the reality of a situation and move to where places are more favorable. But if you are living with intention, if you are living with purpose, on purpose, then existing in an environment that is aligned with your wellness and your mental clarity is going to be a better option for you, because then you can work towards that goal, whatever that the case may be. Maybe that goal is to find solutions to things such as wildfire season and the ways in which it is hurting humanity and not helping humanity. Another priority shift since being here has been communicating, right? So because there's people who speak a different language here, it is necessary for me to translate while I'm here, being that I speak Spanish and I speak English. So now my focus isn't solely on speaking English and communicating in English or thinking in English. My focus is on also communicating in Spanish, thinking in Spanish, strengthening that skill, and helping others communicate with one another. And it is so enlightening for me to be able to have the opportunity to do this, to have the privilege to hold that position, because it is enriching, it is eye-opening. the things that come through when you are serving in that way. And you know, I feel like that has had a very positive impact on my mind, because it makes me feel more connected to my roots. It makes me feel more connected to my ability to understand myself and why I think the way that I do, why I feel the way that I do, why my purpose is what it is. It helps align me to my purpose. Sometimes we lose sight of where we come from. Sometimes we lose sight of why things are meaningful to us. And a lot of the times things are meaningful to us because of the ways that we were raised, because of the value we received from our culture and the things that we were taught as children and the things that were of natural value to us just because this was the environment that we were in. So reconnecting to my path, my spiritual path, my religious path, in a completely different country where they speak my native tongue is monumental. And it has been monumental for me to align to my mental health in a particular way that I would not have received otherwise, right? So this is sort of leading me to express on a deeper level the way that existing in this environment has actually increased my level of mental health. Because these trivial matters that I didn't even want to be things that were relevant to my life before I moved here are so far from what is relevant being here that I feel I am able to exist in a way that is more deeply authentic. My sense of authenticity is deepening. That's not to say that that sense of authenticity wouldn't deepen in any other place in the world, even in the place that I was just living before I moved here. But that's just to say that this is my experience and it is deepening in this particular way. Your priorities shift. Things that were once relevant are no longer relevant, and that gives you more space to focus in particular ways that perhaps your soul is needing. When your soul is calling you to shift and move and change trajectory, and you are forced to prioritize as to align to the environment that you're in, you fail to recognize that calling. You fail to give the amount of attention required for you to truly feel confident in making that move. So that's why I'm sharing this with you. That's why I feel so called to share this with you right now. Do not lose sight of your inward calling to shift a direction. And it doesn't even have to be in relationship to moving. It could be in relationship to things that matter to you, whether it's like a career path or a creative expression that you feel called to do, that you feel called to share with the world, or that you feel called to practice more of. Right? So all these things translate in particular ways. Another way that living here has actually deepened my sense of mental health is a deeper connection to my purpose, right? This environment is in alignment with my purpose. Why? Because I have a certain set of values that are directly associated to herbalism, right? And anywhere on this earth, you can receive the herbs of this land, right? You can receive fruits and vegetables and herbs and all kinds of wonderful remedies from the earth. Although things that I naturally and biologically have an affinity for are here in this land. Things that I wasn't even aware I had a deep connection to became far more apparent once I was in the environment in which they come from, in which they grow naturally. So I'm able to connect more deeply with the land, not only because I value it, but because I feel as though biologically I have a connection to the things that grow here. Experientially, I am understanding myself and my connection to this environment on a level that transcends my ability to understand logically. It goes beyond the logical mind. And I can understand it logically, although it's beyond the logical mind. I recall when I was living in California, I realized how much I truly valued the seasons, right? Like, I did not like living in California after a while because there was never rain. And I love the rain. I thrive in the rain. I feel so alive when I'm in the rain. And that's something that California just wasn't giving me, you know? So I was thinking, like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta move. I felt that pull. I was like, I gotta go north. Because I was in SoCal. So I was like, I gotta go up. I gotta go to where the rain is at. But when I got to that area and I started living, I realized, okay, this place is mad cloudy. This place is like, there's rain, but there's like, also, where's the sun at? And it's getting a little bit chilly. And I don't know, I felt like it wasn't what I was expecting it to be, because that cloudy season was very intense. It was so intense that I was not having it. I was like, I'm gonna climb the top of every mountain every day and sit my ass up there for as long as possible just so that I could receive the sun. See, this is me prioritizing certain things. So somebody might prioritize waking up and going to the gym and doing this, but if I don't wake up and prioritize receiving that energy from the earth and the sun, and I ignore that part of myself for the part of myself that loves to prioritize training, but hates receiving fluorescent lights and frequencies and all this nonsense, for especially like first thing when I wake up and my brain is in this frequency, that's my time to mold and shape myself consciously, right? So that's an example of me prioritizing based off of what my values are, which is my connection to myself through the land, from within and all around. Okay. Doesn't mean that I can't experience both. It just simply means that it looks different for me, right? Just like it might look different for you. So I would find myself all the way to these tops of these mountains during this cloudy season in Oregon. And I realized at some juncture, after a couple years, I was like, I understand why I loved California. I understand why California changed my life, because it was so sunny, and I received the intensity of that sun, and it activated me. It awakened a part of my soul, of my heart, of my DNA, probably, honestly, my genetic structure, to an extent where I was just like, I felt liberated. For the first time in my life, I felt connected to myself. It's like you connect to ancestral codes or something, you know? It's not even something that I get into in that particular way. All of my understanding in respect to these things that I speak of is experiential, right? So I hear a lot of people talking about this and that, and I don't opt into it not because I don't care, but because a lot of people have a lot to say, and I like to see for myself. I like to feel for myself. And when I see something that I resonate with on some level, and I choose to tap in with it, it's because I'm seeking understanding on this experiential level. And then I take that wisdom, and I hold it dear to my heart, and I allow myself to process it through my own soul, through my own being, through my own connection to the land and myself within, all around as one. So I have this whole video of me talking to myself where I'm like, yeah, I totally understand where you were coming from, girl. Like, you need that sun. You miss that sun, and you're going to go get that sun. Right? So in my mind, I was already here. That was 2 years ago. I was already here. I've been here for a minute, dreaming about that sun while I was in the midst of the cloudy season in Oregon, thinking that that was the place I wanted to be, which it was, because of the rain. Now I'm here and I'm realizing why it is that I felt that way. It could just be a story that I'm making up, but why not, right? I'm a creation and I'm a creative, so why not create a story? Makes sense. It feels correct within me. So here I am, and I'm just like understanding, okay, I have the intensity of that sun that activates my genetic structure. I have this torrential downpour that cools me off and allows me to like get cozy and wear a sweater and sip a cup of tea after a day of like roasting in the sun, absorbing the sunlight, feeling the ray. So all the things that I was looking for, that I didn't even realize I was looking for, it was just a natural pull and an unwillingness to listen to what everybody wanted from me. And that does not go away just because I'm in an environment that allows me to have this deeper understanding of myself. This never leaves me. This sense of sovereignty and autonomy within myself. Just because somebody says to do something, or just because it's trending, or just because everybody and their mother swears by something, does not mean that I'm opting into it as if it's law. I feel inwardly. That doesn't mean that I fully trust every aspect of the urges that I have within me, because I'm not just, skin and bone. I have a soul. I have an aspect to myself that is beyond this realm, which is not separate from my physicality, right? So this experience of being here is multi-dimensional, we could say. It is allowing me to connect to my state of well-being in a way that is ever deepening, in a way that is ever expansive, in a way that is creative. Life is the canvas, and you are the painter. Are you the one making the strokes? I don't know. I think that the breath itself is stroking every single paint, every single color, every single shape, every single image that you see. And so I feel so grateful to share this with you guys, to breathe life into you and say, allow yourself to move outside of the box. You have permission to do that, but you must allow it. You must give yourself permission to do that. You must breathe life into your own sense of confidence that it's possible, that you're worthy, that you're safe enough to do that you're safe enough to dream, that you're safe enough, that you're worthy enough, that you're not limited, right? Fear is going to override your brain if you allow it to. And if you do not take time to remember why you want a thing, or to even understand why it is that you want this thing. Your environment matters a great deal. Does that mean that I didn't have to put in work to get here? No, of course not. I had to put in work to get here. I had to reestablish my mind. I had to redirect my mind. In the worst conditions, I had to redirect myself into a state of centeredness, into a state of understanding myself, into a state where I was ignoring all the things that were saying no to me, all the things that were attempting to keep me from expressing my truth, keep me from expressing the way that I felt in my heart, denying the facts of my soul, denying the fact that I had this track record of esteemable efforts. Here's the receipts, here's the track record, and everything in the reality looking at me and saying, that's not real, you're a fraud, that you're not allowed to do that, that's not happening, it's not possible for you, right? Even when things are unspoken, even when people don't say anything, even when your reality is reflecting to you something that appears to be nice or kind or whatever, there's the underlying energy, there's the reality of the dominant vibration that is emitting from the reality. And the main thing that you must do is face the reality and relate appropriately. And relating appropriately isn't demonizing everybody around you, but it's taking responsibility for what you're seeing. Okay, my reflection, the reflection that is my reality, is telling me that my facts are not true. You know your facts are true if you are responsible, if you are mentally sound, if you put forth effort to be that way. You know that your facts are true. So when you have naysayers, when you have haters around you, doubters, people who are living in fear, reflecting you, the way to navigate that isn't to reject them and blame them and shame them and say all these things. Protect yourself, or defend yourself rather. You're allowed to be in the defense. That would be very wise. But don't put all your energy into that, because you're going to deplete yourself. You have to look at that and say, okay, how is this reflective of how I feel internally? What are the fears within me? What are the doubts within me? What are the aspects of myself that have a lack of confidence within myself, to the extent where I'm observing this bullshit, right? Because you can call out bullshit for what it is when you know yourself. When you know thyself, there is nothing that nobody can tell you.
Here we go.
So that's taking responsibility. As soon as you get into that mode and that mindset where you're like, oh, you know, you're giving hate in response to hate.
Camera crew.
You don't have to give love in response to hate. And be nice to people. You could call it love and say that love is actually just self-reflection. That love is redirection, inward direction to self-understanding. You don't have to ignore the reality completely. You acknowledge the reality, and then you redirect your focus in such a way that is productive, in such a way that will get you to the destination that you wish to be at. And the destination is always going to be you. Because no matter where you go, there you are. You have heard it a million times. You don't have to be anywhere in the world to experience yourself in such a way where you actually have self-respect. In such a way where you actually love your life. That's why I have that video. Why are you waiting? Love your life now. Actually love your life now. Actually appreciate what you are seeing right now, even if it's a little bit depleted. I read this story about a frog who was searching the world for a peaceful pond. We are not searching the world for a peaceful pond. The pond that we're at, where in which things are not peaceful, we create peace within that pond. Right? The story is that the frog was witnessing all of these other frogs eating bugs. And the frogs felt bad for the bugs because the bugs were their friends. And so he was in search for a pond where in which there was other frogs who were not eating his bug friends. And no matter where he went, he could never find a pond where there were frogs that did not eat their bugs, his bug friends. And so what did he do? He started to create a peaceful pond. He became a steward of the pond and created peace within the pond that he was in, by way of coming up with ideas to help the situation. So this isn't about running away from the wildfires, running away from the environment and the soil that's depleted. It's about optimizing your ability to actually put forth the efforts that are solution-based. If you're in an environment that is not for you, that is not going to be good for your mental health. So go and be in places where you could actually function. Fight with all your might to actually put yourself in a position where you know yourself enough so that it's no longer a fight. Let go of the fight. Let go of the battle. And understand that you have the wherewithal, you have the ability, you have the opportunity, every single breath, every single thought, every single action, to do what you know is right, to do that thing that is congruent with what you feel in your heart, with what you feel in your conscience.
Went with those boys to there on July 4th, 2026, which is the 250th anniversary of a country that was a robbery. They robbed that boy. They robbed millions of everything. On the 250th, I'm just saying, I know you guys demonize root workers, demonize autonomous women, you demonize women who have reclaimed their spirit and are conscious seers. I know. You want to call us all crazy. You want to treat us all like we don't know anything. You want to treat us all like we're not worth listening to. We're not worth having opinions. But that was no ordinary ritual that took place. And the very same rituals that they demonized are the ones that they practice.
29-year-old black woman was found lynched hanging from a fucking tree in Mississippi. They said her body was there for 3 days, and it was so hot they had to use a fucking ladder to get it. I don't think y'all mad enough. Do y'all not got no pistols? Do y'all need gun license? What's going on? Like,
in the moment, your eternity is seems to be sunrise. Night glows, take it easy, like mellow and yellow and pillow conversation is so okay. You are baby, you a sweet child. This day forever goes by. Our time is limited, love. You a sweet child, and you've been here for a while. Been here for a while, so you can stay a while. It's a chance to make it, and you're gonna say it, and I need you to stay. But nothing guaranteed in this life, right? That was such a fire beat. Actually, this